Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm with the Great Lakes Intertribal Council, acting as the Elder Benefits Specialist. I'm here today to talk with you about some Social Security retirement basics. Really, it's going to be the quick and dirty about Social Security retirement. Now, the takeaways that there's one major takeaway that I want you to walk away with today. And that is get to know your friendly neighborhood benefit specialist, whether it is a disability benefit specialist, if you're under age 60, or if you are over age 60, your elder benefit specialist. Keeping in mind that many of the tribes have an elder benefit specialist employed through their tribal aging unit. And each of the counties also has an elder benefit specialist. So it is your choice where you want to go, whether you want to go anywhere for assistance with your Social Security retirement questions and any other benefit or elder law related questions. So now to the meat of the presentation. Retirement, Social Security. I'm going to talk with you right now about Title II benefits. And this is a term you may or may not hear. So the Social Security Act, I'm not going to get into the history of the Social Security Act and its amendments over the years. But Title II of the Social Security Act refers to benefits based on a worker record. So this means that a person has worked, received a paycheck, had Social Security taxes taken out of that paycheck. It's a system that we pay into with our payroll taxes, and employers contribute and all of that good stuff. Now, a frequent hot topic in public spaces is retirement age. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Now, a person can start drawing early retirement at age 62. Like you can file for early retirement at age 62. There are a lot of reasons that a person may or may not want to do that. And this is one of the reasons I think it's critical to know who your benefit specialist, who your closest benefit specialist is. Because if you are 62 and unable to work because of a health issue, you may not want to file for early retirement. You may want to file for Social Security disability insurance. And there are consultations, there are conversations to be had about eligibility for either one. So a person can elect to take retirement as early as age 62. If a person elects to do that, however, there is a payment penalty. So a person will receive a lower payment than they would be eligible for if they waited until their full retirement age. And wouldn't you know, I didn't print off the full retirement age chart, but I shouldn't speak if I don't have it in front of me. But after a certain year, it is 67 and gradually more months at 67 and 2 months or however it comes out. So there are benefit calculators that you can consult online at ssa.gov. I would recommend either on your own, if you are not super tech savvy, maybe recruiting a younger generation family member to help you, or going to your friendly neighborhood benefit specialist to create a My Social Security account. My Social Security accounts, as I mentioned, they can be a little tricky to set up because to make sure that the person setting up the account is actually the beneficiary or the person on whose record the benefits would be drawn. There are some, I want to say, interesting questions like that go far back in a person's history, and they're usually multiple choice, and for a lot of people, multiple guess, because it's things like, on which of these addresses have you, or on which of these streets have you never lived? Or, what make and model was the first car that you ever registered? Or, who held the mortgage to this house in, 1961 or something like that? So some people don't honestly know the answers to those questions. In those cases, there might be some different communication that needs to be had with the Social Security Administration. And along with knowing your friendly neighborhood benefit specialist, it's also a good idea to know the local number, the direct number for your local Social Security field office. I have found most of the customer service reps are helpful and useful. Although, like I find myself doing, get a little into the weeds and explaining the policy behind the action taken by the Social Security Administration. So benefit specialists can help with those sometimes tense conversations. And along those lines, there's an 800 number that ends in 1213. Avoid that number. You frequently, when I hear folks have sat on hold for 45 minutes or an hour or more, they call the national Social Security number, like a national line for Social Security questions. And if you can avoid that, if it's during first shift business hours, definitely reach out to your local Social Security office as opposed to that national number. And then a benefit specialist, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to link the local office finder so that you can get those direct numbers. And then pro tip that I'm going to share with you, when you dial that local office number and you are connected, there will be a pre-recorded message. Right now, I think it's about COVID-19. After that message is complete, and then it's usually another voice will say, to continue with your call, press 2, and then as soon as the next message starts, press 0, and you will immediately get into the call queue, and you don't have to listen to all of the stuff that may or may not pertain to you. You could be on the phone for another half hour listening to those messages. But if you just dial 2 and then 0, you'll get in the call queue. And in my experience, you will get to a customer service rep far more quickly. But again, if the thought of making that call makes you really uncomfortable, please feel free and comfortable to reach out to your friendly local benefit specialist. We'll help you through that. Okay, so early retirement 62, there is a payment penalty. Retirement benefits at full retirement age. How do I want to, the application, that's to what we can talk about. The application is easily completed online for most people, especially with the assistance of a benefit specialist. There are other ways to complete that application. Not sure if there are still paper applications, but a person can also call their local office and just say, I'm ready to file for retirement, or I'm ready to apply for retirement. And those customer service reps will walk folks through that process. But again, I have found in my experience as a disability benefit specialist and elder benefit specialist that completing that online application is really streamlined and gets things moving a little more quickly. Let's see. I would also like to mention that whether at full retirement or not at full retirement, they're under Title II, again, associated with a person's work history and payment into the system through payroll taxes. There are spousal and there are potential spousal and survivor benefits. So these could involve a spouse who has or has not worked themselves. Sometimes one spouse has higher earnings, had higher earnings during their work life, so their partner would have access in some circumstances to that higher payment as sort of a supplement to their own payment on their own record. And let's see. So that's worth looking into. One thing that I have seen a lot that I do just kind of want to insert in here, if you find yourself in the unfortunate situation where your spouse passes away, and they were receiving, or the two of you together were receiving Title II benefit, extremely important to contact Social Security right away, especially with the COVID-19 shutdowns. The field offices are operating, but employees are not physically at the field offices. So, and also there is a component with the U.S. Treasury, the payer of these benefits. So there's a lot of communication gaps and delays between when Social Security versus U.S. Treasury might be notified of a person's passing. And it adds insult to injury when a grieving spouse receives an overpayment notice and that a Social Security benefit received must be paid back. And so if or when this happens to you, please feel comfortable reaching out to an elder benefit specialist if you need assistance. And there would likely be releases of information that would need to be signed if you want a benefit specialist to talk with the Social Security Administration without you present or on the line. It's a myth I like to bust that as much as sometimes organizations like these seem like the enemy, meaning like Social Security Administration, things are really complicated, and it sometimes could feel like deliberately kicking, policy deliberately kicks a person when they're down already. And let's work together to avoid that as much as we can by being, and I'm speaking as an elder benefit specialist, to be present and available for you when you have those questions or concerns. And I know that calling the elder benefit specialist probably is not on the list of priorities during times of grief and loss, but we are here, and we have worked through these in this context, these problems in this context before. So hopefully we can help, soften that blow or eliminate it altogether by communicating upfront, getting ahead of the 8 ball, so to speak. And again, I'm in the weeds. So spousal benefits, survivor benefits, they are different and separate things. And sometimes those overpayments end up coming out in the wash when a person is determined eligible for a survivor benefit. So again, they're complex benefit issues. Please feel free to reach out to one of your benefit specialist resources to walk you through that. I want to briefly touch on working while retired. It's not prohibited. People can certainly work both if they take early retirement or at full retirement. A person's earned income from work is treated a little bit differently if a person takes early retirement. There is an income cap after which there is a $1 for every $2 offset. So, the number hovers around $18,000 a year of earned income from work for between early retirement, and then the year somebody turns the year somebody becomes or is turning their full retirement age, it's a 1-for-2 offset. And a benefit specialist or a call to the local Social Security office. You definitely want to notify Social Security that you are working. Again, prevention, an ounce of prevention, to make sure that Social Security knows that you're having earnings, especially if you think you might be teetering on that income limit, that there would be potentially a reduction in your Social Security early retirement benefit. The year you turn your full retirement age, that 1-for-2 offset becomes a 1-for-3 offset. So it's $1 for every $3 over the limit a person earns. So they give you a little bit of a perk to maybe save some extra money for when you're fully retired. Then after your full retirement, after you've reached your full retirement age, there is that earned income limit is lifted. So you don't have to worry about the offset once you've reached your full retirement age. Let's see. Now, keeping in mind, I have not addressed any private, say employer-based pension or union benefits or anything like that. That's a whole different ballgame. I hope that I provided you with some new or extra information, a little bit extra insight about Social Security benefits. Like I said, they are very complex, but we are out here. There are people out here to help you sort through it all, so that A, you don't have to do it all yourself, and B, that ounce of prevention to help get ahead of problems before they're even problems. Because I don't know, I can't speak for every benefit specialist, but I think, I definitely would want to prevent stuff. So the earlier you come to us, before you turn 62, before you turn 65, have conversations with folks at your aging unit. And I imagine folks are doing that already. But benefit specialists, and in some ways that's how a lot of rumors and misinformation is shared too, because not everybody's situation is the same. So when people share stories, especially about Social Security, retirement, disability, SSI, supplemental security income, which I'm going to talk about in another session, when people talk about their experiences, there are many nuances to these programs, little things that people might think is an insignificant detail, but that might change everything. As far as eligibility or how much a person receives in like a cash benefit, like Social Security retirement. There are so many moving parts to this, which there is value in sharing those stories and experiences. And there's also value in reaching out to a benefit specialist. One of the things I always used to say and have said is, you are an expert on your own life and circumstances. Benefit specialists are intensely trained, routinely updated on policy, policy changes, that we know the benefits intimately and kind of know where to go. We don't know everything about these benefits in the moment, but we very much are resources to the resources. We know where to go, who to talk to. And in some cases, when, sometimes we get a Social Security rep on a bad day and they snap at us. And if that is a person's only experience of them, sometimes it helps to reach out to a benefit specialist who may have had at least one positive interaction with that Social Security claims rep or customer service rep. They're human too. So not to sounding apologist for Social Security representatives. But I think we can empathize as benefit specialists that these things get really frustrating. And we can do it together and we can muddle through it together. So thank you very much for your time today. Again, I hope you're walking away with something of value from this presentation, if nothing more than to get to know your friendly neighborhood benefit specialist. Thanks a lot.